All right. So the last discussion, we discussed about the SSMS. We also discussed about the service accounts. What is the use of the service account? How we can make any user account as a service account? How to change the service account after installation also? What is the use of the service account? And of course, yesterday we discussed about the SSMS, how to run the queries and all. Okay. So all these things we covered in the previous sessions. In this session, what we can do is we'll try to understand how the data will be managed in the SQL Server. How how the data will be stored and managed in the SQL Server. Internally, how it will be managed. Okay. All these things will be covered in this session, guys. So now I want to create one table, one object. Okay. So generally in the SQL Server, the table will be stored, okay, in a database. In simple words, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the table will be stored in a database. Okay. So if I want to create any table, I should have a database first. If I want to create the database, I should have a SQL Server first. So how the data will be organized in the database? Right? If you remember in the beginning of the session, maybe we like earlier, we discussed this point, right? So if I want to create a table, first I need database, right? So how the data will be stored in the database? Listen carefully. These are very important points. Mostly like up to 4 or 5 years, you will not get questions on that. But again, it's a kind of internals, like advanced kind of things. So if you put more than 5 years experience and all, they might ask these questions, internals and all. Okay. So database, what is meant by database? Again, I'm repeating. If I want to create one object, either database or stored procedure, whatever it is, first I need one database. So in the SQL Server, how the data will be organized physically, how the data will be organized logically. Okay. In the SQL Server, how the data will be organized physically and logically. Okay. If you see the physical hierarchy, if you see the physical hierarchy means how the data will be stored physically in the SQL Server. How the data will be stored in the physical in the SQL Server. So whenever you want to create a table, first we need database. Database in the sense, database is nothing but collection of data file and log file. Okay. Database is nothing but collection of database is nothing but collection of data file and log file. Means when you create the database, by default, you will get these two files. This is minimum and mandatory. Without these two files, no database will be existed in the SQL Server. Okay, without these two files, no database will be existed in the SQL Server. So when you are creating any database, let me connect to the SQL Server. Let me show you how it will be. Okay, I'm just logging into the server. Right. I'm just connecting to one instance. Okay. Remember, there are two types of databases. One is system databases that you will get when you install the SQL Server. You can see those four system databases. Okay. Actually, five system databases. One system database will be hidden. There is a separate class on system databases. There are two types of databases, system databases and user databases. In the system databases, only SQL Server related internal information will be stored. So we don't use these system databases to store our user data or personal data. So for that, what we can do is like we can create user databases. Okay. So creating database is very easy. If you want to create any database, simply right click. How you are creating a new folder, same way it will be. Right click, new database. Simply you can give the name and you can click OK. But you have to understand, right, like what internally happening when you are creating the database, how many files it is creating and all. So if you see this window, this is like a new database creation window. So now I'm just giving one database. Like imagine I'm just trying to create one Amazon database. Amazon. Every object in the SQL server will have a owner. Owner concept will be there. Owner. Okay, so database also will have database owner. Generally, you have to set this owner for permanent login. I'll tell you what is this permanent login and all. What will happen if you don't set the login or owner? It will take default owner. Default means what? Who will be the default owner? Who is creating the database? Who is creating the database? He will be the default owner. Who is creating the database? He will be the owner. So now who connected to the SQL server, guys? Who connected to the SQL server? What is the username?
Administrator.
Administrator. So administrator connected and he is doing all these things, actions and all. So if you don't set the owner name, generally what will happen? Administrator will be the default will be like administrator. Like if Rajesh connected and if he is creating the database with his account, so the database owner will be Rajesh. If Sid connected and if he is creating the database with his account, the database owner will be Sid. So by default, it will take the default user account, like with which account you connected to the SQL server. By default, the owner will be that particular account for that particular database. But is it good? It's not good because, as I said, remember yesterday, if Rajesh or Sid left the organization, their accounts will be deleted from the company. So if the user accounts are not there, the objects that are associated with these user accounts might not work properly. So I don't want to use any personal accounts here as a owner. I'll use a permanent account. So in SQL Server, what is the permanent account login? If you go to security, go to login section, there is a login called SA. If you see here SA, System Administrator, SA is one permanent login. You cannot even delete this SA login. You can delete all other logins, but you cannot delete this SA login. This is a permanent login and default login. By default, you will get it. Once you install the SQL Server, by default, you will get this login, SA. So that's why generally for all the objects, SA will be the owner. Okay. But you have to set it as SA. If you just keep it as default, it will take your name as owner. So that's why job owners, database owners, generally SJ, one account called SJ. Okay, this account will act as a owner for all the objects and it's a recommended practice. Fine. Now you see here, okay, there are two files actually trying to create. Now I'm just typing, right? See, Amazon. Just to check the logical name here. The first column. See, I'm editing. Okay, I'm editing. Flipkart. So if you see here, the names of the files will be changed. Okay. So now let me create same. Let me change it to Amazon. So now whenever you are creating a database, okay, automatically these two files will be created, guys. Automatically these two files will be created. What are those two files? One is data file, another one is log file. One is data file, another one is log file. Sharmukh, why we need this data file, log file and all? What is the important, why? What is the importance of these two files? Do we need these two files mandatory, or how it will be managed internally? For that, you have to go to the diagram. Let's go and let's discuss about this, okay, diagram. So now, if any transaction is coming, whatever transaction is coming from the user, that transaction from the application connection string, it will connect it to the database, it will go inside the database, right? Remember, every transaction should follow ACID properties, ACID, atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability. So as per these ACID properties, you remember, like sometimes when you are sending the money, you are sending 5,000. Okay. So what is the state of the transaction, guys? Can you tell me what is the state of the transaction? Either it will be successfully completed generally, or it should be failed. Correct? Either it should be successfully completed or it should be failed. There is no partially successful, right, in this transaction. It's not like 5,000 you are sending, 2,500 transfer to the account and 2,500 will be in your account. It's not like partially successful. Either fully successful or it should be failed. In case if it is failed, it should have a data, right? So every transaction will be stored with the proper data. So SQL Server will allocate one number to this transaction. That number is called LSN number. Every transaction will have a number, log sequence number, LSN, log sequence number. So any transaction is coming from the application, it will go to the database. Database means again, it's a collection of two files. One is log file, second one is data file. So why we need these two files? Okay, this is my log file, guys. Log file. This is my data file. Easy, guys, don't get confused here. Okay, so if you have any challenges and all, let me know. Okay, I'll help you for that. Remember, log file is kind of a main entrance, guys, for any database. Okay, without any file, either log file is missing or data file is missing, database will go to recovery pending state. Both files should be available, both files should be accessible. Okay, and you can store both files in the same drive, or you can store log file in separate drive and data file in the separate drive. It's not mandatory that both files should be in the same drive. Okay, it's not mandatory. In the organizations, we don't manage both files in the same drive, because if this drive is corrupted, both the files will be corrupted, or we cannot manage. It's very difficult to recover the data. So for safe side and even for transactions also, okay, we will generally store log file in log drive, one another drive, and data file in one more drive, which is data drive. Okay, so log file is the main entrance of any database. Log file. So whatever transaction is coming, okay, first this transaction will go inside the log file, guys. Any transaction, first it will go inside the log file. Okay, so control G, 1 minute. Just a minute, guys. Different, it should come right. Okay, let me try this insert. Okay, that's fine. Insert into something like products values. Mm. So now something like order ID, product name, cost. Okay. Mm. So imagine this is the sample transaction, guys. Okay, this sample transaction is coming. So user is like he's buying the product, and then the transaction. Okay, will just of course from the application the transaction will be triggered, and the transaction will go to the database. And again, database is nothing but a collection of log file and data file. So first the transaction will goes to the log file, guys. Okay, imagine. Okay, 1 minute, sorry. Yeah. First, the transaction will goes to the log file, guys. Remember, log file is a temporary area. In the log file, we don't store the data permanently. And here, if you see, this is your transaction, guys. Okay, insert into whatever table name and values. Some values you're inserting, right? So this is your transaction. There is a difference between transaction and data. The whole thing you will consider as transaction. The whole thing will call it as a transaction. The statement insert into products values, all these things will tell like it's a transaction. What is the data here? These values, these three values, what and all values that are there inside the brackets will be data. So now listen carefully. So every transaction from the application will goes to the log file first, because this is the default behavior. It should go. So log file is a temporary area. Every transaction will have two states. One is committed and uncommitted transaction. Easy, guys. Don't worry. Easy only. Just try to understand the that particular basic lines and all. Very easy. So every transaction will be like committed state and uncommitted state. So what is this committed state and all? Committed means you are saving permanently. So whatever you are writing in the notepad, it will be existed until you turn on the laptop, right? Until the laptop is up and running. Once you just stop the laptop, shut down the laptop, so what will happen? Whatever data is there, if you don't save it, there is a chance that it can be deleted. So to save the data permanently, what we will do? We will use Control S, and then we will save to any location, so that even though you restarted your laptop, again you are going to get the notepad and again you are going to get the data. So that means by using Control S option, you are saving the data permanently. So in the same way, whatever transactions are there, all the transactions will be temporarily stored inside this log file till when? Till the transaction is going to be committed. Once the transaction is committed, only these values will be moved to the data file. Only these values will be moved to the data file. So that particular transaction, whatever transaction you can see, the whole transaction will be stored inside the log file, whereas the values inside the transaction, okay, the values inside the transaction, Control G, the values inside the transaction, generally what will happen? Only these values will be stored inside the data file. So the table, whatever table is there, in the table only you can see these values. So that's why whenever you run select star from products, you can see the values. Log file will be used to store the transactions, one important point, whereas data file will be used to store the data. Clear, guys? Just remember only these 2 points. And log file is the gateway of any database. First, every transaction will go to the log file only based on the committed and uncommitted transactions. If it is committed, and then it will goes to the data file permanently. Once it is in the data file, then what is the use of this transaction? So this will be truncated. So log file is a reusable file. Is it clear, guys, everyone? Log file will store the data temporarily. I'll give you one example. For example, imagine you went to a hotel. Okay. So sometimes if you go early with family and all, if the room is not vacant, they will ask us to sit inside the lawn and all. So we are waiting in the reception area. Maybe we are family of 5 members. Okay. So we went to the hotel and then booked the room. So he said like room is cleaning something maintenance and all is going on. Please wait. So what we will do? We went with our own luggage and all, right? So 5 bags, something like 5 boxes. So all 5 people went. That reception area or that lawn area is a temporary area that you are waiting. You are just waiting. Once your room is cleaned, maintenance is done, then they will allow you. Correct? You will go to the room. Means you will be present either at reception area or at room, not in both places. Is it clear, guys? So once that room, imagine the room is a data file, that reception area is a log file. Everyone like who booked that hotel, they have to go to reception right first to take the keys and all. So here also in the SQL server, whatever transactions are coming, first it has to go to log file. There SQL server will allocate LSN number. LSN number you can treat it as a key, room key. So there at the reception, they will allocate one room number for you. They will give you a, whatever necessary things are there like towels or soaps, shampoos, everything. Sometimes they will give or water bottle. They will give it at the reception. So you will collect and then you will go to that room. If you are waiting in the reception, what about other customers? If other customers are coming, the reception will be full. There will be no place to enter inside the hotel. So only temporarily, like until you are going to get your room, temporarily you are waiting at the reception area. Once you got your room, you will vacate with all your things, your bags, box, whatever it is, you will vacate with all the things and you will go to your room. Again, new people will come. Like that. So the log file is a gateway of the database. Every transaction first it will go inside the log file. Based on the committed and uncommitted transactions, the log it will send the data to the data file. So once the data is written to the data file, the transaction will be truncated from the log file. Now there is no use because I have a safe copy here. Now there is no use of this transaction that is there inside the log file because it's already committed. If it is uncommitted, it will be stored inside the log file only. If it is committed, it will go to the data file. Once it's moved to the data file, the transaction will be truncated. The data will be stored for auditing purpose and all. Okay, when it came, at what time it came, on which database, on which table it was, okay, updated. Every data it will store, guys, in the log file. In the log file it will, because you see, if you go to reception, same example, in the reception they will ask all the details, right? What is your name, what is your ID card number, which ID card you are providing, from which location you are coming, how many days you booked. Okay, all the details they will take. They will write everything, at what time you checked in, what is the checked out time, everything they will write right in the reception. In the log file also same thing. It will, once the transaction like inserted or once the transaction came into the log file, it will capture all these details. Around 108 details it will capture, guys. Okay, then it will allocate key is LSN number. Okay, then based on the committed and uncommitted state of the transaction, if it is committed, it will go to the data file, and then once it is written to the data file, means permanently data is saved. So data is safe now. So now the same transaction, no need of saving it in the log file. So the log file transaction will be truncated. This is how the log file will be reusable. So sometimes if huge data comes, means log file will grow like anything because it is storing the transaction and it is also tracking a lot of details of each transaction. So next time if you see log file size will be decreased. Why? Because data is committed. So committed data is truncated. So log file sizes will vary, guys. Whereas data file, until you delete the data by running delete statement or drop statement, it won't be deleted, guys. Is it clear, everyone? Just remember two, three important points. Every database should have two files. One is log file and data file. Log file is a temporary location, whereas data file is a permanent location. Every transaction, whatever transaction is coming from the application, first it will go inside the log file. And log file, it will store lot of details about the transaction and it will allocate LSN number. And it will also capture transaction details like on which database it is executing, on which table it is executing, at what time it came, what is the starting LSN, previous LSN, current LSN, next LSN, all these details it will be stored because in the phone pay, I'll give you the same example, the phone pay transaction. It has to track lot of details when you are sending. It has to track your device IMEI ID or whatever device ID, the recipient's device ID, your account, recipient's account, date, time, your bank, recipient's bank, and it will also store your geographical location from which location you are sending the money. Lot of details it will track. Why? Because if you have all the details, rollback is easy. If something went wrong, if the money is debited from your account, if the money is not credited, it has to roll back the transaction. Correct? If you see sometimes if you are sending 100 rupees or whatever it is amount, if you are sending some amount, sometimes it will be debited from your account, but a user will not receive that amount. So what it will do after some time automatically, maybe it will have some time, 15 minutes or 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, if the amount is not received to the recipient's bank, automatically the transaction will be rolled back. It means the transaction will be cancelled and you will get your 100 rupees. So for rollback purpose, it has to capture. If it is not capturing your account or your geographical location or your device ID or your payment ID, if it is not capturing, rollback is difficult, right? Is it clear, guys? When you write an address on the letter, if the address is clear, it will easily go to the recipients, the user's address and all. If the letter address is not clear again, okay, it will go for like the from address from where you are sending and all. It will try to go back to that particular account. So in the same way, so rollback is also every transaction, okay? Either it will go for roll forward, redo, undo. So it's mandatory for these states and all, every transaction. So in case if the transaction is failed with any reasons, it should have details on which database, on which table. So for rollback purpose and all, we will use this data. That's why log file will capture all these details. It will capture, guys. Okay, once the transaction is committed, then it will delete so that the log file will be reusable every time. So that's why if you see sometimes log file will be 100 GB, sometimes it will be 1 GB only. Data file will be not like that. Until you are inserting the data, inserting, it will grow. At any moment, if users don't want that table, if they don't want that data, then we will run the drop command or delete command. So that time the object will be deleted by us. Okay. But whereas in the log file, we cannot control this. This will be an automatic operation. If the transaction is committed, automatically, what will happen, guys? Automatically, the data will goes to the data file and then the same transaction will be truncated from the log file so that it will have some free space to welcome the other incoming transactions, guys. Is it clear? Just remember these two, 3 points. Like log file is a temporary file. Okay. And whatever transactions are coming from the application, first it will goes to log file. Once the transactions come committed, then the transaction will be moved from log file to data file. Once it's completely written to the data file, it will be truncated from the log file. That's it. These 4 points are enough, guys, to remember. Any questions, doubts? Yeah, your voice is too low, Sid.
I just asking, so if that log files is taking or say all the transition, then why the log file size is too small and the data files is big?
I'm not saying if it is taking all the. I said one more point also, Sid. Sometimes it will be 100 GB, sometimes it will be 1 GB. Why you are not considering 100 GB? If transactions are there, it will be huge in size. If if the transactions are truncated, it will be small in size. So the log file size can be vary within 1 minute or within 1 hour. It is easily the size and all will be vary. Whereas data file, it's like adding only like whatever the modifications that you are doing. If the data file is 100 GB today, until and unless you delete the data, it will be 100 GB or it will be more. Log file is not like that. It depends on your transaction. If you have huge transactions in the log file, your log file size will be big. If there are no transactions or transactions are truncated, log file size will be small. Clear, Sid?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Now is it clear, guys? Use of log file and data file. So both the files are mandatory. Without these two files, no database will be existed in SQL Server. Even if log file is corrupted or data file is corrupted, database will go to inconsistent state. So by default, you create any database. By default, minimum you will get these two files. Okay. So now if this data file is full, okay, data file is full means what? You are storing this data file in this drive. Imagine this drive is 100 GB. This you are inserting the data, the drive is full. Then what you will do? You cannot delete the data, right? In our case, as we cannot extend the storage in our personal laptops, we will check and we will delete unused data or unwanted data and all will delete so that in our phone generally, so that it will have extra space and all. How we will manage the space in the phone and laptop? So we will just check periodically. We'll check maybe any unused photos or videos or like I mean unused means like not useful videos and all there. Then you are going to delete. You will just manage the space. Or one more option, you can extend the storage. Like you can add extra storage and then you can just keep on going without deleting anything. Here also, if the drive is full, my data file is like if we don't have space to insert the data because the drive is full. Imagine. So now we can extend the drive. If it is 100 GB, we can request the storage team or Windows team. They will make this as a 200 GB, 300 GB, 500 GB, 1 TB, 2 TB. At one point of time,
Wow.
Sid, please be muted.
Gandala.
Sid,
चार दिनों का
Sid,
मस्त
Sid.
क्या भाई
Let me mute you. Right. Okay. So at one point of time, if the drive is completely full and if we cannot extend the drive, then we'll add one more drive. Okay. We'll add one more data file into Sid. Sid, can you hear me? Sid, can you hear me?
yeah
Right. We'll add extra data file and then we'll point this data file to the new drive, guys. This is how generally we'll manage the storage and all. If the drive is also full, again, full means not 100 GB, 200 GB, like terabytes of data means the same database. See, log file, one data file, second data file, like that you can add n number of data files. N means what? Max 32,767 data files you can add. For one database, you can add 32,767 data files. Max, but we don't use it maximum 4 5 data files. If it is very big database also, max 10 data files we'll use. Okay, we'll use the same data files and all the for in case if the data is also growing, max to max 5 to 10 data files. If it is normal database, medium scale database and all, max one data file will be there, 1 to 2 data files. That's it. So this is how the space will be managed, guys. Fine. Log file, data file. Is it clear, guys? Now let's go to this. Now I'm just creating one database, and the database name is like Amazon. And if you see here, the type of file, data file. Okay, rows data means data file. And this one, you see here, Amazon, you don't see any extension. I mean, not extension actually. Amazon, you can just see the Amazon. You don't see any other name. But here you see the second file, Amazon underscore log means all the log files will be represented with the database name underscore log. Underscore log means it's a log file. Type of file is log. And file group. Generally in the SQL Server, data files can be existed in any file group. Data files cannot exist alone. So file group concept is there. File group is nothing but collection of data files. I'll explain guys. After this, we'll discuss about the physical hierarchy. So data files cannot exist, okay, without file group. So by default, SQL Server will give you one file group. That file group name is called primary file group. As data files cannot exist without file group, so SQL Server itself will create one file group called primary file group. Log file doesn't belongs to any file group. Okay, there is no file group concept for log file. So that's why here if you see the log file group, it is showing not applicable. Log file doesn't have any file group. Initial size, you can give the initial size here. Generally in the organization will give 1024 MB, 1 GB. Okay, and 512 MB for log file, 1024 MB for data file. So just to not to waste that space and all, you can even give any space. 8 MB also you can give. It's not like you have to give 1024. Okay, 8 MB also you can give. So initial size generally in the organizations they will set it as like for data file they will set 1 GB as the initial size of the data file and 512 MB or sometimes 1 GB they will set it as initial size. This is just initial size. See now you see here this is initial size, right? Imagine this is 100 MB. I can set it as 100 MB. Now if 100 MB is full, what will happen? My data file is full. What will happen? Then you see here you have to enable this auto growth. By default it will be enabled only. No need to manually go and enable. So auto growth by 64 MB. If you just click on these three dots, you can see how it is going to auto grow. You want me to enable or disable? If you disable auto growth, you can see option like this none. If you see none, if the 100 MB is completely full, then it cannot grow. The data file cannot grow. Then if there is no free space in the data file, database will go to inconsistent state again because it should have some free space in the files. If there is no free space, you cannot access the database. Is it clear, guys? Everyone? Okay? In the data file or log file, whatever it is, because always every time transactions will go, it will come, right? It will come inside the log file. It will come inside the data file. If you don't have enough free space, you cannot even run the queries also on the because there is no enough free space in the files. So database will go to inconsistent state. State means recovery pending. If any database, if any database went into recovery pending state, you cannot access the database. So always space is very important. At least okay, breathing space should be there to access the database. If there is no breathing space, the database will not be accessible. It will be inaccessible, guys. Okay. So that's why we'll enable the auto growth. Auto growth, how you want to enable, how you want to grow the file. In percentage you want to grow. If you give in percentage and if you give 50 percentage means if my 100 MB is full, what will happen, guys? What will be my new file size? If my 100 MB is full, automatically it will grow. How much it will take automatically? How much? You should have one parameter, right? 50 percentage. I just gave like 50 percentage. So 50 percentage of 100 MB, how much? 50 MB. So next time 50 MB will be allocated. From where? From this drive. See, from C drive. From C drive, it will allocate 50 MB. If you see here, this PC, how much space I have? 11 GB. If that 150, now the new file size is 50 plus 100, 150. If that is also full, again 50 percentage, 75 MB. 150 plus 75, 225 MB. If that is also full, again 112.5. 225 by 2, right? 112.5. So 215 plus 112.5, whatever it is, like 320, 370, something like that. So like that it will grow. But from where it is taking? It is taking because the files are storing in the C drive. So it is taking from the 11 GB free space. So until when it can grow, right? Until what point it can grow? Until 11 GB, because in my drive I have 11 GB. If this 11 GB also full, so the drive size will be 30 GB it will be, and the occupied size also 30 GB. So you can request Windows team to extend the drive. So Windows team will add some storage to this drive. They might add 50 GB or 100 GB. Storage is very costly, guys. It's not like, hey, Windows team, please add the storage. They don't add. They have to buy the storage. You have to follow a lot of, okay, approvals and all. So once you have an approval, then Windows team or storage team will add the storage. Like that, they will add, they will extend the drive, extend the drive, extend the drive until the drive can be extended. If they cannot extend the drive, still the data is growing because of it is very big database. Then Windows team will add extra drive. Then I can add one more data file here. I can just click on add data file. I can point that new data file to the new location, so that this time the data will goes to that particular new location. Is it clear, guys, everyone? Are we good on this? Any questions, doubts so far, please? Guys, is it clear or it's not clear? So your voice is breaking. Guys, any questions, doubts? Is it clear?
Get new data file, so only new data will go to the new data file, or how it will be shared the data?
Good question, Shivaram. So here, yeah, please be muted. Right. When we will generally add new data file, if my old data file is completely full, then only we will add new data file, correct? Generally, if it is full, then we will add new data file. That doesn't mean if it is not full, we cannot add. We can add it. Okay. We can now also, I can add the new data file. No need to wait until the data file is full. Generally, if the first data file is full, then I'll add the second data file. So technically, if you see, after adding the new data file, as there is no space in the old data file, the new data should goes to new data file only, right? There is no option, right? This is one scenario. The second scenario, if there is no space in the first data file, the new data will goes to new data file only. Imagine if there is a space in which data file the table is created. Generally, it will prefer to go to that data file. Imagine there is a space in data file 1. It will go to data file 1 only, because the table is created initially, the table is created in the data file 1. First file is data file, right? The data file 1, it will goes to data file 1. Means if there is no free space in the old data file, the new data will goes to new data file. If there is a free space, it will check where the table is created initially. So it will go to that respective location. Or Shanmukh, can I create my table on a specific data file? Yes. You can create the table on a specific data file also, no problem. So it will be managed like that. Clear, Shivaram?
Yeah, clear, sir.
Guys, people are not at all responding. Any questions, doubts? Is it boring? Something kind of thing?
Connect, I was responding, but I'm out of station.
What happened?
I think my
Okay,
network
okay,
is
okay,
not separate.
okay. That's fine, Wasim. So in case if you cannot respond, just at least you can type a message, okay? Something like that you got it
Can you
or
please disable the chat?
which one? Disable, huh? Oh, okay. Let me enable that one. Sorry for that. Where is this? Group chat. Yeah, I just enabled that group chat, guys. You can use. Fine, guys. Okay. So that is how the auto growth option and all will be useful. So auto growth is mandatory. Auto growth is very important. So because we'll handle hundreds and thousands of databases, guys. Earlier, when I worked for one company, this is important question, guys. They will ask this question in the interviews. Okay. I use it to handle 7,500 plus servers, not databases. Earlier, my previous project was like very big project, taking care of multiple applications. I use it to handle 7,500 servers. Generally, the figure might be small, but in database industry, 7,500 servers means very huge environment. Very huge environment. In every organization or depends on project, hardly there are some projects with one server, two servers also. So they will ask in the interviews, okay, how many servers you handled in the current project, or how many servers you worked so far in your current project generally. So don't tell 5 servers, 10 servers and all. And don't tell 1,000, 2,000 servers also. Too big or too small is also problem. If it is too small, they will feel like, okay, very small environment, okay. First thing they don't believe, because minimum some servers will be there. If you tell 5 servers, na, they don't believe. Even though if some people believed, okay, they will think in this way like, okay, 5 servers, right? Hardly how many challenges you will get it. Without challenges, how you will learn the subject. So they will feel like you don't have enough subject and all. Technically, even though you are good, okay, you are answering all the questions, but they will feel like real-time experience, because 5 servers means you don't get great challenges and all. Okay, small issues only will come. So they will think in that way. And if you tell 1,000 servers also, they don't believe sometimes. You have to justify. Oh, 1,000 servers, oh my God, how you are managing that much big environment? So you will get a lot of follow-up questions. So don't tell too many servers, or don't tell too, the count also should be normal. It shouldn't be too small or too big, guys. So roughly you can tell anywhere between 500 to 1,000. Okay, you can tell like 600 servers, 650 servers, 700 servers, 800 servers. Like that you have to manage, guys. Is it clear? So that time like 7,500 servers in the old project. Each server generally we can create 32,767 databases in each server. SQL Server will allow you to create 32,760. That number is a magical number. Remember that 32,767. You can create 32,767 databases in the SQL Server. And every database, you can add 32,767 files, 32,767 file groups, 32,767 logins, 32,767 sessions. Yesterday we discussed it, right? So this 32,767 is a magical number in SQL Server, right? So generally we can create 32,767 databases, but on an average, every server will have 10 to 20 databases on an average. If you go to any project, on an average, 10 to 20 databases on an average. In some cases, it will be 50 databases. In some cases, it will be 100 databases also. But on an average, 10 to 20 databases you can see. So imagine 7,500 into, roughly let's go with the 10 databases. How many databases, guys? 7,500 into 10 databases. How many total? 75,000 plus databases we use it to manage. Actual count is 1,30,000 something databases. Okay, so databases in the organization also, when they are asking questions, how many databases you managed or how many servers you managed, just okay, it depends on the server count. If you tell 600 data servers, if you tell 600 servers, you just count it like 600 into 10, 6,000 plus databases you can tell. Clear, guys? If anyone is asking questions, how many servers, how many databases you handle. In one server, 32,767 databases you can create, but generally in the organization, mostly will use for 10 to 20 databases. So if anyone is asking how many servers and how many databases, this number should be correlate. If you said 600 servers and you tell 100 databases, is it matching, guys? 600 servers, if you create one database also, minimum 600 databases should be there. And you're saying 600 servers and 100 databases, how it will match? So immediately he will get to know that, okay, you are not an experienced DBA. Okay, chalo, our HR will get back to you. So these kind of small things also, okay, they will ask, guys, in the interview. So you should be very careful, right? So enable auto growth should be enabled for all the databases. This is by default option. Either you can enable in percentage, or you can just simply give in megabytes. Something like if you give 100, if my 100 MB is full, immediately it will add 100 MB. 100 plus 100, 200. If that 200 MB also full, again it will add 100 MB. Like every time it will add 100, 100, 100 MB. Either you can use, generally the organization will use in percentage. Most of the projects will use in percentage, will give 10 or 20 percentage here. You want to limit this size, generally the data file should be unlimited only. You cannot limit. You can limit it, okay? It will allow you to limit, but it's not a recommended practice to limit the data file size, so it should be unlimited only. So this is use of the auto growth, guys. Same for log file also, you can just manage. Now location, in which location you want to save these files. See, it is allowing to save the data file in one location, log file in another location. Generally, you can save it. Don't think all the data files and log files should be in the same location. Nothing like that. It can be in same location or it can be in different location. As log file will be full very quickly, so we'll store all the databases log files in one drive. All the databases data files in one drive. That's why we will call it as a log drive and a data drive. Log drive will have all the databases, 10 databases or 20 databases or 200 databases. We'll keep one drive as a log drive and we'll point all the log files to the same log drive. Same way data drive also. We'll store all the databases data files in the same drive. Okay, for the consistent performance and or for better IO performance and all. Sharmukh, what if I put both the files in the same drive? Okay, fine. For one database, it is fine. Imagine if it's 100 databases, because on the log drive, lot of read and write operations will happen, guys. Because on the log drive, I told you, right, it will add 108 properties of each transaction and regularly transactions will come. On data drive, less pressure will be there when you are reading the data, when you are writing the data. During those times, generally, we'll get lot of logs, especially while updating the data, insert, modify, insert, delete, these kind of things. So huge log will be generated and so it will be written to the log file. So on log drive, not only for single database, right, for all the databases log drive, right? So on log drive, lot of read and write operations will happen, guys. On log drive, lot of read and write operations will happen. That's why we don't recommend to keep the data files in the log drive or log files in the data drive or both in the same drive. Because IO performance also very important. As you are handling terabytes of data, IO also should be good. Input output. IO means input output. So if IO is not good, what will be the problem, guys? You will get very slow. The response from the database like will be very slow. So when user is executing one query, it will take lot of time to get the output. So user will immediately raise a complaint. Hey, database team, I am experiencing some slowness on so and so server, so and so database. Please troubleshoot it. So this is also one of the recommended practice that data files will keep it in the data drive, separate drive. Log files will keep it in the log drive, separate drive, guys. Clear? As of now, I have only C drive, so I'm just using C drive. If I have another drive, maybe I can show you to change the file and all, but I'll show you later in the advanced concepts. So this is all about the database creation options, guys. Recovery model is full. I'll tell you what is this recovery model. We have a separate class on the recovery models and all. Collation, by default, it will take the server collation. The server collation, during the installation, we gave one collation setting, right? It will take by default. Otherwise, you can also set the collation setting. Collation means language settings. Collation is nothing but language settings. That's it. Compatibility level and all. Okay, containment type. Containment type, I'll tell you. Okay, this is small option, one extra feature. So some of the options will be true, false. So no need to change anything, guys. Keep it as it is. We don't change anything generally. Okay. In case if customer is asking specifically to change few values, we will change it. Otherwise, this is the standard template. Okay. We don't change it. We'll just proceed with these values only. File groups, I told you, right, by default, as data files cannot exist. Okay, cannot exist alone. So data files, especially for data files, file group should be there. But we did not created any file group, right? So that's why initially SQL Server itself will give one file group. That file group name is called primary file group. Okay, so if you want to add extra file groups also, you can add extra file groups. Right? So currently one primary file group, and that primary file group, like it is having one file. Can you tell me what is this file? It is showing one file, right? In this primary file group, one file is there. What is this file? Yes, Surya.
File stream.
What is that file? What is this file, guys? It is showing in the
File
primary
stream.
file stream. Why file stream came?
Data file.
Data file. By default, you just added one data file, right? Where it will store? In the file group only. See here, primary. This file, it is showing one. If you add extra file, let me show you. I'm just adding one file, but later I'll add. But while creating the database also, we can add the data files or any file, data file, log file also we can add. After creation of database, maybe today the database, like you created the database, maybe after 1 month or after 1 year, you want to add extra data file, you can add. Whenever you want, you can add the data file. So while adding, if you point to the primary file group, then again one more file will be added here and it will show you two files here. So this is the default data file, guys, that you are getting. Okay. Click OK. Now in this way, you can able to create the database, guys. See, Amazon is created. If it is not showing, what you have to do, select the root folder, refresh it. It will show you. Sometimes, or else better select the server and then refresh it. It will show you the new object, guys. So in this way, you can able to create the database. Even we have a command also to create the database. What is the command to create the database? Let me show you this. Right click. If you don't know the command, generally you can generate the command. Okay. I am again creating a Flipkart database. Okay. Flipkart. Right. So generally I gave database name and just gave owner name. Other than that, we did not do anything because all are default values only. Maybe I just changed auto growth for the previous database. So that's it. This is how we'll create the database name and owner. That's it. We don't do anything. Now, for your action, as I said, SQL Server also don't understand your GUI language. GUI is only for you. SQL Server understand only query language, T-SQL language. Which language SQL Server can understand, guys? T-SQL language. But I don't know what is a query to create the database. Imagine. So what you can do, you can just create it. And what query it will run, you can generate your action. Just click on script out option. Just click on this button. It will generate the script out. See? This is the script to create the database. See how big it is around. You can also see how many lines here. Total 83 lines. If you just change it, this value will be changed 82, 81, like that. Okay, total 83 lines of script you should know to create the database. But without these 83 lines, means when I click execute, all these 83 lines will be executed and then it will create the database. Clear, guys? But is it possible to remember these 83 lines of script? Difficult, right? We are not only creating the database every time, we have to do lot of things. So we don't need to remember any of these scripts, guys. Okay, simply you can manage with the help of GUI. Right click new database and then you can just click on the, you can just give the inputs like database name, location, wherever you want, like what and all you want to add, you can just add it and you can give the, you can just click on OK and automatically to create the database. So what I'm trying to say is, for every action that you are doing in the SSMS, one command will run. If you want to see that command or query, you can just script it out. You have to script out your action if you want. Otherwise, generally we don't need. So now let me delete all these things. Okay, I'll delete all these lines and then I will see whether I can create the database or not. Now create database name. Can I create the database using this statement, guys? Generally, now Sanmukh, you only said like we need 83 lines, but you are just simply giving one line. Is it possible to create the database with this single line? Just guess, yes or no.
Yes.
Right? So Generally, yes, I can create it. See, I'm just parsing it, whether I'm just checking my queries right or wrong, and I'm just executing. That's it. Done. See, now after creating, I don't see the database, right? Select the database folder and then just refresh it. You can see Flipkart. So, Shanmukh, you said 83 lines, and again, you are simply creating with three words. Yes. Remember, why I'm trying to say these things means when I'm executing a query, don't think that it will execute only these three words. Okay, don't think that it will execute only these three words. It will add the default parameters. I did not give any location in the command, which location the data file has to be stored, which location log file has to be stored. I did not give any location. I did not give initial size. I did not give the owner. I did not give the other inputs, file groups and all. But still, when I run this statement, it just created. So where it was created, let's see in which location these files are created. How to see? Go to any database properties. We created Flipkart, right? Go to Flipkart properties, go to file space. You can see here, owner I did not set, right? So it took my account as a owner. So it just created with the default values, default location. So Control C, Control Windows R, Control V. Okay, just go to this location. In this location, you can see Amazon data file, Amazon log file. This is how you can see the files physically. Flipkart data file, Flipkart log file. How we identified, guys, data file and log file? For log file, you can see underscore log. So that is log file. For data file, you can see, okay, nothing. Generally, you can see just name of the database. So you can easily identify this as a data file. Even icons also. See, this icon will be different. Data file icon is like showing a table, whereas log file icon is showing a small notepad kind of thing. Okay, in this way also you can able to identify which one is data file, which one is log file. And you can also see the type of the file, data file and log file. Log file means will also call to the transaction log file. Transaction log file. The full name of the log file is transaction, where it will store the transactions. So we'll call that as a transaction log file. Any questions, doubts, guys, so far, please?
So Shanmukh, we can create a number of data files, right? So again, what is the use of file group?
See, databases don't compare both. When you are comparing, compare with the same class, right? File groups are different. In the file groups means what? Collection of data files. So how you are organizing your data files in a database will tell you the file group. And on the other hand, you are saying databases. When you are creating a number of databases, why we need file groups? In one database, we can have 32,767 file groups. Okay, so if you want to organize, imagine your database is very big. If you want to organize your data in the respective databases properly, we need file group concept. Whereas n number of databases, for every small things also will create the database, not required. In one database I can store n number of tables. There is no limit. Until and unless you have storage, you can create n number of tables. There is no limit of creating the tables in one database. So this file group will tell you how you are organizing the data in one database. Whereas you are saying like I can create n number of databases. Yes, you can create n number of databases. But don't compare databases and file group. Databases and file group both are different objects. File group will tell you how you are organizing the data in its respective database. That's it. Even though you have n number of databases, every database you have to manage properly. Very simple. You have one drive in your laptop, okay? D drive, E drive, one drive. So you can manage with the single drive, but why we will create 3, 4 drives? Just for the one is for better performance, like read and write operations will be distributed on multiple drives. Second one is organization is easy. In single drive also, are you going to dump everything in the same drive? No, right? In that particular drive also, again, you are creating the folders. Why you are creating the folders in that drive? Because, okay, you have family photos. Imagine photos or one function happened. In the function, marriage, imagine if it's a marriage. Again, haldi function photos will be there. and marriage photos will be there, reception photos will be there. Means in the same drive, you are organizing the data properly so that retrieval and all is easy. So if you want to see engagement photos, you will directly go to that folder and you will pick that photos. Everything like we can create multiple drives, right? You can have each occasion in each drive, right? But why? To manage the data properly in that particular drive also you are creating different folders. So that folder is a kind of a file group to manage data in a specific manner or a recommended manner. We'll use file groups, whereas databases are completely different. It's an object where we will store the data. Clear now?
Yeah, clear. That example make me good understanding.
Yeah, Shivaram. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shivaram. Any other questions, guys? No, are we good? Okay. Just take a break, come back after 15 minutes. We'll discuss about the other things, guys. Okay? Yeah. I'll be back in 15 minutes. And Shivaram, please call me once. Yeah, you can call to my mobile. Guys, can you hear me? Right, okay, fine. So let's continue the discussion. So we discussed it, right? So what is the use of the data file, log file and all, and how the data will be managed, how it will be organized and all, how the data will come, how the transactions will come, where it will go. Okay, all these things we discussed. Okay. Sorry for that. Hello?
Yeah, Shami.
Yeah, fine. So now let's discuss this, how the data will be organized physically. Right. So till now we discussed up to data file level. But where exactly the table will be stored? Now when you are creating a table, where exactly it will be stored? Okay. Imagine this is the SQL server. Okay. This is the SQL server. Right. In this SQL server, when you create a database, right? Imagine you are creating one database. As you know that this database will have data files and log file, correct? So data files generally will exist on any file groups. Okay, let's go with this one. I'll take this one and then I'll just keep it here. This is my data file, right? So this data file cannot exist alone. As I said, it will be, okay, created in any file group. So data files will be created inside the file groups, guys. So imagine this is my file group. Where is that file group? So let's try adding one color. Okay. This data file generally will be in the file group, guys. Let me add this file group. Control G. Let's send backward. Why this is not working? It should work, right? Okay. So this is my file group. Inside the file group, we have the data files. This is how it will be. So imagine this is my file group. So for this, what I'll do, I'll simply give this color. SQL Server. Inside the SQL Server, databases. Inside the database, we have file groups. Inside the file groups, we have data files. Okay. If you go inside the data file, what will be there? If you go inside the data file, you can see extents. Okay. What is that, guys? Extent. So what is extent? Extent is nothing but collection of 8 data pages. Extent is nothing but collection of 8 data pages. Let me add one page icon, something like that. Page. Any page, yeah, this is enough. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, and 8. OTP, 1 minute. 389025. ये वाला स्टार्ट कर दो पहले. Right. So this is my file group. Inside the file groups we'll have, sorry, not this one. Inside the file group we'll have data files. Okay. Inside the data files we'll have extents. Inside the extent we'll have pages. Okay. Page. What is meant by page, guys? Page is a basic storage unit in the SQL Server. So whatever tables you are creating, okay, whatever tables you are creating, at the end of the day, this table will be created on any page, guys. Whatever table it is, a sales table or salary table or employee table, whatever it is, at the end of the day, SQL Server will allocate a page for your table. Okay? SQL Server will allocate a page for your table. If your page is full, Control G, if your page is full, SQL Server will allocate another page. It's like a kind of a examination, guys. Okay, so when you are attending board examinations, you will get a booklet, right? Some 16 pages booklet, something like that you will get, right? In the same way, once that booklet is full, you will get extra pages. You can take additionals, right? You will tell like we'll call it as additional and all. So the same thing, whatever data is coming from the application, the database, like it will goes to the database. Database is nothing but a collection of data files and log files. So these data files cannot exist alone. The data files will be existed in any file group. Imagine this is the primary file group. By default, you will get one file group, right? This is the primary file group or any file group. You can add file groups also. If you go inside the file group, you will have data files. If you go inside the data files, you will have extents. Extent is a kind of a booklet, examination booklet, that 16 pages booklet. But in this booklet, you will have 8 pages. Instead of 16 pages, you will have 8 pages. Page is a basic storage unit. Okay. Whereas extent is a basic allocation unit. Basic allocation unit. So whenever you are creating any table, SQL Server will allocate one page for you. Dedicated. It's a dedicated page. It will allocate that page for you. Even though you are not creating a big table, even though you are creating a small table, irrespective of the size of the table, SQL Server will allocate the page. Imagine if there is a free space in the page, SQL Server will not allocate that free space to another table. One page, one table. Is it clear, guys? Big or small? One page means one table. Even though you are not inserting any data, still one page means one table. If the table is growing, SQL Server will add extra pages to that table. If that extra page is also completed, SQL Server will add extra extent. Is it clear, guys, everyone? This is how the table will grow. When you create any table, SQL Server will allocate a page from any extent. Why? I'll explain about the extents. So each page size is 64 KB, guys. What is the size of the page, guys? 64 KB. Each page size is 64 KB. Okay, 64 KB, 64 KB. We cannot change this. Sorry, I'm so sorry. 8 KB. Extent size is 64 KB. Okay, 8 KB. So each page size is 8 KB. So whatever pages that is allocating to you, SQL Server will give you an 8 KB page. If this 8 KB is completely full, SQL Server will allocate another 8 KB space. Means if the table is small, still you are using only 1 KB out of 8 KB, SQL Server will not allocate that free space to another table. One page, one table, guys. Clear? All good, guys? Any questions, doubts so far? This is how the data will be organized physically. Any questions, guys? Guys, can you hear me? At least respond, guys. Yes, no, maybe,
Yes, sir.
clear, not clear.
Clear, sir. No doubts in this.
Okay, so SQL Server, whenever you are creating a table, SQL Server will allocate a page first. So page is not shareable. Out of 8 KB, you are using only 1 KB also. Even though you have 7 KB free space, SQL Server will not allow you to create one more table on the same page. One table, one page. If that table is growing, SQL Server, same like examination. If you are keep on writing, okay, you will take the additionals, right? So we'll add extra 8 KB page. SQL Server will add extra 8 KB, 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 extra 8 KB. Like that, it will add. So like that, every time it will use. So this space where you will get it, in which drive you are saving the data file. Imagine if you are saving the data file from in C drive. So it will take this 8 KB from C drive. Like that 8 KB plus 8 KB plus 8 KB plus 8 KB. When you are inserting the data, okay, it will keep growing, growing, growing until there is a free space in the drive. If there is no free space, again, as I said during the auto growth, we discussed, right? We will extend the drive. If we cannot extend the drive also, if drive also reaches maximum limit, we'll add extra drive and then we'll create another file group or file in another drive. So now page is nothing but basic storage unit, correct? Page is basic storage unit in SQL Server. Basic storage unit in SQL Server. What is the size of the page, guys? What is the size of the page?
Maybe.
8 KB, which is fixed.
Yes, yes.
We cannot change the size. Interview question, can we change the page size? We cannot change. It is fixed. This is a design. Design we cannot change. Okay? Architectural design. This is how they designed. Right. One page generally will be used for one table. If table is growing, SQL Server will allocate multiple pages. Okay? So one page can store on 100 page, one table, sorry, one table can be stored on 100 pages or 1000 pages or 2000 pages. Now, when you are running a select statement, select star from table, all these pages, imagine if the table is sitting on 100 pages, all the 100 pages will be loaded into the memory RAM. Clear? Is it clear, guys? So this is how the things will be organized internally. This is for data file. For log file, okay, it will be a different concept. Log file generally you will have log file doesn't belongs to any file group, guys. Log file doesn't belongs to any file group. So okay, let's keep it here. Let me add. This is my log file. Log file, transaction log file, both are same, okay? Why you are not coming here? Come. Okay. This is your log file, guys. Log file or transaction log file. log file architecture is different. Data file you will have extends, pages, right? Whereas in the log file, it will store only transactions, correct? So in the log file, you will have log blocks, active LSN, active LSN, inactive LSN kind of thing, okay? Log file is collection of what I can say, listen number, VLF, okay? Log file is a collection of VLFs. VLF means virtual log file. Okay. Inside the VLF, generally you will have log blocks. Inside the log blocks, you will have log records, guys. Okay. Let me try to do like this in this. This is log file, right? Okay. So this is my log file. Inside the log file, we will have VLFs. These are my VLFs, guys. Okay. VLFs. Inside this VLF, we can say like this. Okay. Let me add boxes like this. These are my VLFs, guys, virtual log files. These are like 8 years, more than 8 years, or more than 6 years level of interview questions, guys. Virtual log files called VLFs. It will help you to troubleshoot the performance issues and all. Sometimes you will get performance issues due to VLF count. Okay, there are some scenarios that VLF count generally how it will be managed, guys, like the auto growth option. So due to that auto growth, if you don't set up the auto growth properly, lot of means it's a kind of a simple log file will be, it will be divided into multiple blocks. Each block will call it as a VLF, virtual log file. Okay, so some virtual log files will have like active and inactive log files kind of thing. Let me go to this. This I'll make it as a black. Okay, and then this is fine. Give me a minute, guys. Just give me a minute. Hmm. So this yellow color you can say active ELF. Whatever white color is active means already data is there inside that. Control Z, not line, right? I need for this filling and all. Hmm. Okay, so you can say this is an active ELF. Active ELF means currently data is there. Inactive ELF means empty. Where you can see yellow color is like data is there, transactions are there. Okay, where you don't see data is like inactive ELF. Guys, don't worry, and it's okay. That's fine. Just I'm giving extra cheese. If you want, you can just digest. Otherwise, you can just leave it. No issues at all. Okay. Hmm. So again, if you go inside this VLF, you will have that and all. Okay, small other discussion. You will have log blocks, and then again, if you go internally, log records will be there. Mainly, you have to concentrate on this. So mostly they will ask this question, guys. How the data will be stored physically in SQL Server, or what is meant by a page, what is meant by an extent, what is the size of the page, what is the size of the extent. They will ask questions like this. So remember this point. Okay, whatever we discuss, you can leave it. Just remember this point. In the SQL server, the data or the table will be stored on any page. Whenever you are creating a table, SQL server will allocate a page from the extent. Even though you are not using that particular page, still that will be fixed with the table. It will be allocated. You cannot, page is not shareable. In other words, we can say page is not shareable. If you are creating another table, another page SQL server will allocate, but it don't allocate the existing page, even though there is a free space in the page. Page is not shareable. Page size is 8 KB, which is fixed. We cannot change the page size. Page is a basic storage unit, as I said. And then extent is a basic allocation unit. What is that extent, guys? Extent is a basic allocation unit. Basic storage unit is different. Basic allocation unit is different. We have two types of extents. Okay? Uniform extent, mixed extent. Uniform extent and mixed extent. So what is this uniform extent and mixed extent, guys? See, very easy. If all 8 pages belongs to same table, that is called uniform. Uniform. All 8 pages belongs to same table, that is called uniform extent. If all 8 pages belongs to dash, that is called mixed extent. Can you fill that dash? If all 8 pages belongs to same table, uniform extent. If all 8 pages belongs to dash, it's called mixed extent. Can you fill that dash? Same tables.
Different tables.
That's it. Very good. Okay, different objects we can say. Okay, that means this page it will allocate to some sales table, this page product table, this page for employee table, this page for uh, transactions table, this page for some other. It can be for any index and all. So if all 8 pages belongs to different objects, that is a mixed extent. If all 8 pages belongs to same object, that's a uniform extent, guys. And extent is a collection of 8 data pages. Okay, extent is a collection of 8 data pages, 8 continuous data pages. So now tell me the extent size, guys. What is the size of the extent?
64 KB.
64 KB, because 8 data pages, right? 8 into each page size is 8 KB. 8 into 8 is 64 KB. So this is also fixed, guys. Extent is also, extent size is also fixed, because extent is nothing but collection of 8 data pages. So to avoid the wastage of the storage, how they designed, how Microsoft designed, when you are creating a table, initially it will allocate a page from the mixed extent. Why? If it is allocating a page from the mixed extent, it can use other 7 pages to allocate to some other objects. Is it clear, guys? When you are creating any table, initially it will allocate a page from the mixed extent, because to avoid the wastage of storage, the subsequent, if the table is growing, the subsequent allocations will be dash extents. Can you guess? If the table is growing, the subsequent allocations will be from the dash extent. From uniform or mixed?
Mixed.
Why mixed? Which is the best suitable option here? Now I am creating a table. You don't know, I don't know what will be the size of the table and how it will grow, till what level it will grow, we don't know. So SQL server also don't know, because I can create hundreds of tables. That doesn't mean I'll insert the data, right? I'll just create and I'll leave it. So initial itself, if I'm allocating a uniform extent, you are wasting 8 pages, correct? For the initial allocation itself is a uniform extent. How many pages you are wasting? 8 pages, because if it is a uniform extent, all 8 pages belongs to same object. But you just created, but you are not inserting any data. So 7 pages you are wasting, right? So what it will do to avoid this wastage, initially it will allocate a page from the mixed extent. Fine. Because if you are getting a page from the mixed extent, other 7 pages you can give it to some other objects. Now the table is growing. You inserted 1 million records. Now you fired an insert query which is having 1 million records. It needs storage. SQL Server will provide in the form of extents. So the next subsequent allocations will be from uniform or mixed extent. Tell me, guys, which is the best suitable option here? Now you know that insert query is running for insert query is running for 1 million records. You know that the size is very huge. 1 million records means. So the subsequent allocations will be dash, guys, uniform extent. Is it clear now? So initially, to avoid wastage, whatever table you are creating, it will allocate a page from the mixed extent. So initial allocation will be from mixed extent, so that the other pages don't need to waste. Easily you can manage. Whereas in the subsequent allocations case, if the table is growing, then it don't allocate mixed extent. Then it will allocate directly, because it knows that, okay, 1 million records, minimum to minimum, it will take these many pages. Okay. Imagine it will take 1,000 pages. 1,000 pages, why I'll allocate a mixed extent? Chalo, 1,000 pages, right? I'll allocate some 100 extents. 100 uniform extents it will allocate. So that is how it is going to avoid the wastage of the storage, guys. Clear now? Page, extent, file group, virtual log files. Is it clear? Any questions, doubts so far, please? From this, you might get what is the size of the page. You might get the intro questions like what is the size of the page, what is the size of the extent, what will be the initial allocation of a table, either from mixed extent or uniform extent. Okay, what is meant by VLFs, how the log file will be divided internally, how the data file will be divided internally. So all these things you might get, guys.
And could you please explain one more time in a short for the log file only?
A log file doesn't have any file group concept. Log file is a transaction log file is a single file. In that file, it will be virtually divided into multiple partitions. So that virtual division, you can say that virtual partition is called VLF, virtual log file. Each physical log file. See now if you go to the server, okay. See this is the log file, right? This is a physical log file. I can, right, guys, one more thing I just want to add. Don't dare to double click on these files. Don't dare to open. If you open, you cannot open directly to see. Shanmukh said extents will be there in the data file. Okay, let's see where is the extent and all. No. Up to this level only you can see the files. You cannot go internally to any of the files. It will not allow you. If you are trying to open with any application and all, the file will be corrupted. So this is my data file, right? In this data file, file groups will be there. Inside the file groups, data files will be there. Inside the data files, extents will be there. Inside the extents, your pages will be there. Clear? This is log file. This is a physical log file. Inside this physical log file virtually will be divided into multiple log files. Internally, virtually, not physically. This physical log file virtually divided into multiple partitions. That virtual partition you can call it as a VLF, virtual log file. That virtual log file internally will be divided into log blocks, and inside that log blocks you will have log records. Clear, guys? Let me add it here, okay? SQL Server. Inside SQL Server you will have databases. Inside the databases you will have file groups. Inside the file groups you will have data files. Inside the data files you will have extents. Inside the extents you will have pages. Okay, this is your data file. Data file. Now log file. Inside the SQL Server, databases. Inside the databases, log file. Inside the log file, VLFs. Inside the VLF, log blocks. Inside the log blocks, log records. This is how it will be organized, guys. Are we good now?
Yes, Shanna.
Fine. Okay. So any questions, doubts you can ask. Otherwise, we can wind up the session for now. Okay, because we discussed a lot of things in today's session. Maybe if I discuss more, you will omit. Fine. So any other questions, guys, to discuss? Otherwise, we'll connect in the evening, 7 p.m. IST.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you all. We'll connect again in the evening session, 7 p.m. IST for US people tomorrow morning, 9:30 EST. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you all. Bye.
Yeah, bye, Shanna.
Yeah.